What's up, Raging Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to Beast Wars. This is just a web series we're talking about the production of Transformers Rise of the Beast. This is episode number 2, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the confirmed characters. And what we're going to do is we're actually just going to take some of the information that we already know, and let's just summarize it, and I'm going to give you an episode completely dedicated to the characters that we're going to see in Transformers Rise of the Beast thus far. So far what we know, okay? So, as we already know, it's broken down to 5 factions, okay? So 5 factions. Autobots, obviously, Decepticons, Terrorcons, Predacons, and Maximals, okay? And between those 5 factions, we do know some of the characters, or rather the main characters and supporting characters that we're going to see. I'm positive that we're going to see a lot more, but this is what they're naming so far. Obviously, they're not going to give us all of them, but let's just really break it down. Let's just break it down. We're going to start off with the Autobots. Okay, the Autobots. Obviously, we're going to see Bumblebee. This is, after all, a Bumblebee sequel, or rather, I don't want to call it a sequel. It's a follow-up to Bumblebee. Okay, this is a follow-up to Bumblebee. You cannot have a Transformers movie without Optimus Prime. So Optimus Prime is back, and also this film is supposed to be or at least what they said in Lorenzo Bonaventura, the producer. He said that the next film is going to be an Optimus Prime Bumblebee buddy movie. Okay, which is the Bumblebee sequel. It's not 2 separate films, and it's also their introduction to Beast Wars. So they combine the buddy film, the Bumblebee sequel, and the Beast Wars film into one film, and that is Rise of the Beast. So what we have here, once again, the Autobots are Bumblebee, who is a modified second-generation 70s Camaro. Okay, so this will be his 7th appearance in a live-action film. Optimus Prime is going to be voiced by Peter Cullen, of course, and he's going to be like a flat-nosed truck like he is in G1. He's going to look a little bit different from the way he appeared at the end of Bumblebee. Now, I just saw this photo on Instagram posted by Optimus Prime Productions. I cannot confirm that this is the look of Optimus Prime for the next film, but this is a photo that we have so far. Once again, there's not a confirmation of what he's going to look like, but it actually looks like a 90% chance that it's going to be it, based on the way it looks and based on the way it looks when it was covered. If you can see in front, you can see that there is a like a framework at the front, which is formed. That shape is formed when it was wrapped up as it was being transported. So there you have it. Another Autobot we have, this is the 3rd Autobot, is Mirage. He's going to be a silver and blue Porsche 911. So different from what he was in the G1 cartoon, but still a high-speed, high-performance sports car nonetheless. Okay, now is he going to do any of the Mirage characteristics, which is like creating holograms and doing invisibility cloak? Who knows? They didn't talk about that. They didn't mention that. Maybe we're going to find out later on when the movie comes out. But I'm still cool with him being a silver and blue Porsche 911. And finally, for the Autobots, and I don't know if this like the final bunch of Autobots that we're going to see in the movie, is RC, who's going to be a Ducati 916 motorcycle with rose, pink, and white highlights. Now, what's very interesting is that, okay, we've seen RC in the Bumblebee movie at the very beginning of the movie. We've also seen RC as a motorcycle in Transformers Prime, and the RC at the beginning of Bumblebee and also in the G1 cartoon has rose, pink, and white highlights. So I'm glad they're sticking with the color scheme, but they're giving her a more a modern vehicle mode, so the Ducati 916. And don't forget, this takes place in the 90s, so it's you know, we're getting like not so much like present day vehicles, but still modern vehicles. So that's still very, very cool to see that there's that blend of the combination rather of G1 and Transformers Prime together. So I'm really excited about that. And that's it for the confirmed Autobots so far. And you know what? I'm actually okay if that's all the Autobots that we're getting. And the reason why is because there's 4 more factions here, and there's more other characters to to go to handle. There's more. There's actually more characters that there needs coverage for, right? So I'm okay with there only being 4 Autobots and keeping it a more contained group as opposed to a big army of Autobots. You know what I'm saying? Because we know what happened when they had too many Autobots. We ended up with like Autobots that had very little screen time. Like, it's cool to get a lot of them, but still, like I said, when the more you have, the less time that is really dedicated to them. And I want to see RC have some serious character. You know what I mean? I want to see her have the same type of character as I really like the way she is in Transformers Prime. So I'm hoping a little bit for that. I'm hoping for those kind of that kind of bickering and personality. All right, so that would be really, really cool. Next up, we're gonna talk about Decepticons. Who's on the Decepticon team? Hasn't been announced. And you know why? It's because I personally believe that they're going to keep the Decepticons to a bare minimum. I mean, sure, it's only the beginning and they decided not to talk about them now, but I have a feeling that there's a reason behind that, and that is the Decepticons are going to be background characters. They exist. They exist because you can't have Autobots without Decepticons, but you know, we can't always have Autobots fighting Decepticons again and again and again for now 7 movies, right? There's got to be new threats. So I think those Decepticons are going to be there. We're going to learn about some Decepticons by name, perhaps Starscream and some other ones. But I really don't believe that they're going to be... I mean, obviously they mentioned that they're not the main villains. It's the other threats that I'm going to talk about later on. But I really think that the Decepticons are going to take a back seat with this one. And if anyone, I think they're going to bring out Starscream. After all, he is quite iconic. I don't think they're going to bring out Megatron. I think they're actually going to name him, talk about him, mention him, but they're not going to bring him back until another film. I think they're really going to save that. So I'm okay with that. Okay, because this is a Beast Wars movie. You bring in those guys, suddenly it's not going to be a Beast Wars movie, and I really want to open my mind to trying something new. Let's talk about Predacons. Okay, so far they only named Airazor, which is like a steampunk style robotic. It's going to be a robotic bird. Never mind that I said steampunk. Is not a steampunk style robotic bird. It's just a robotic bird, and that's all we know about Predacons so far. Airazor is the only one that has been named, okay? Next, the Maximals. So these are the good guys. These are the good beasts. And that is, we got Rhinox, who is a steampunk-looking rhino. He's like the right hand of the leader of the Maximals, who I'm going to talk about in a moment. So it's cool to see that we're getting Rhinox. So he's a confirmed character. And of course, you cannot have a Beast Wars film without the leader of the Maximals. That's Optimus Primal, which is that concept that we saw before. That Optimus Primal concept that we saw in the past, but with fur. A little bit different from that concept. And that one's going to be voiced by Ron Perlman. Not Gary Chalk, but Ron Perlman. Okay? So that's going to be pretty interesting. And it's... I think there's gonna be more Maximals for sure. I just think that these two are gonna be the ones that stand out the most, because we're talking about, I mean, essentially it's Optimus Prime and Ironhide, but as beast mode. But now it's Optimus Primal and Rhinox. Okay, you gotta have the big brute in the Maximal team. All right, so there you have it. So we talked about Autobots, we talked about Decepticons, we talked about Predacons and Maximals. Finally, we got to talk about the Terrorcons. Now, what are the Terrorcons? The Terrorcons are these... Okay, in G1, they're these Decepticons, okay? But sometimes they don't really work well with the Decepticons, then decide to do their own thing, okay? And they are 5 or 6, I think it's 6 Terrorcons, and they merge to form Abominus. And what the Terrorcons are these Decepticons that actually... Their alt modes is actually these weird-looking beasts. And by weird-looking beasts, I mean they're not animals. They're beasts, they're monsters, right? Like you have this shark with legs or limbs, and then you have this 2-headed dragon, and one looks like a reptile or alligator. Anyways, I wasn't too familiar with them, but I do remember them, but not totally familiar with them. The thing is that the Terrorcons in Rise of the Beast, so far we only know 2 of them, but the Terrorcons that they have so far in the roster aren't any of the Terrorcons that were in G1 of the comics. So they're doing something different, obviously, over here. Apparently, according to what we've read so far, Terracons are the main threat. What's true to the source material is that the Terracons in Rise of the Beast fight everybody. They don't like the Decepticons. They don't like the Predacons and Maximal or the Autobots. They are for themselves only, just like in G1. But the thing that is really different is that who they consist of so far. We only have 2 of them right now, and there's Nightbird, okay, who will apparently look like the same way she did in the G1, which is like a ninja with the face cover, with the mouth cover. And she's going to be a Nissan GTR. The thing is that I don't remember seeing Nissan GTRs in the 90s. So I don't know how that's going to work. That might be an error, but they claim it's going to be a Nissan GTR, which is interesting because I like that it's taken the form of a Japanese car, because we've been seeing a lot of American cars, American muscle, military vehicles. But it's cool that we're getting a Japanese, like an imported vehicle, right? Scourge. Scourge is the leader of the Terracons. It's cool to see Scourge, like that we're getting a version of Scourge. But Scourge as a Terracon, that's going to be kind of interesting. I cannot really picture what the Terracons are really going to be like. Because in G1 they were monsters, but in here it seems like they're vehicles. This one, we don't know what the actual alt mode is, but it's like black with gray tones, and in his robot mode, he's got 4 smokestacks, so I can't really picture what that's going to be like. And they did confirm that it's not going to look like Black Convoy. It's not going to be like a twin of Optimus Prime. So it's going to be something entirely different. I think it's going to be a pretty cool design. I'm just predicting that because, it's Scourge. Their smokestacks is black and gray, so they're probably going to make something look very cool, like very aggressive looking. So I'm looking forward to that. So right now, based on what I've talked about, I've counted up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. 9 characters. That's a very minimal, considering the scale of the movie we're talking about, and considering there's 5 factions here. So I really, like I said before, I really think that the Decepticons, that is it's an antagonist element of the film, is going to really take a back seat. We're going to see very, very minimal Decepticons. Probably some of them will get killed or just fly around like Starscream, like a coward, and then that will be it. But anyways, I just wanted to give you my thoughts and feelings about that, some of my feedback, and also just give you the basically the confirmed list of characters that we're going to see. And I'm really excited to see it. This has been episode 2 of Transformers Road to Beast Wars. Stay tuned for episode 3. We've got a lot more to talk about. Principal photography is happening right now, so we should get some pretty exciting updates pretty soon, and we're going to talk about it right here on this channel. So stay subscribed, stay tuned, and my name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.